Humanity is going back to God. That's why we see all the bullshit that we see going on in the world right now. It's because people are starting to realize like the idea and situation with the left and the right and all this crazy shit literally comes from, for one, you need your left foot and your right foot to walk. And people is not, some people realizing it. That's why you got the people that saying, well, we in the middle. I'm going to explain all three of these sides from a better perspective. On the right, what you got, this is my left hand, but on the right, what you got is you got one group that's like, oh yeah, man, the boundaries and the traditions and the ways and the way we used to live and all of this shit. That's what kept us safe. We need this, we need rules. It's the rule. Mind you, both sides is arguing that we need rules. But we need rules. It's these rules that we had that was what was protecting us. And then the other side is like, the left is like, no, remember, ideas, is like, no, those rules were hurting us. People were getting fucked up under those rules. Those rules were the problem. It's not those ideas. We shouldn't be following those fucking ideas. Those ideas are destructive and they're killing people. So those are clearly wrong because mine involves other people and helping people and freedom of identity and all that shit. So what happens is, they'll say, it's really that you should be able to identify with any idea that you want. That's basically that. It's not really, I'm simplifying both sides, but it's just like, it's not, in a relationship, your relationship can be whatever you want it to be. You and your girl or your fucking wife or whatever can do whatever y'all want to do. Y'all can operate under whatever dynamics you want to operate under or live under, however the fuck you want to live. Be that fucking, I don't know. But, and that's where you get all the labels from. Like, well, I'm not black, I'm really this, or I'm not a man, I'm this, or my relationship is technically this, even though we're like, it's just more idea. But notice how the problem is that both sides are clinging to ideas in identity. Because even though this side is saying that shit, when you're doing ignorant shit, because most people would say, well, you got people on the right that's like, well, these people is doing what they doing and they killing people. And then you got people on the left that's like, this is me talking now. You got people on the right that's like, well, what they doing is manifesting as death and money and murder and blood and war and all this shit. And what the left is multiplying is, it ain't the same. They both ain't as bad. I'm going to tell you why. Both sides. For one, politics is your worldview. Your worldview is your ability to perceive the world and how the fuck you understand that and process that. So politics is just the consequences of everybody saying, look at existence. This is what I think I'm looking at. And everybody coming together to say what they think they're looking at. And the ignorance there is that the problem is that both sides are just as ignorant because they have the same perception of life. When I say perception of life, it's not ideas. They got different ideas. The problem is one side's ignorance, limited identity, may manifest as, oh, well, I'm identified with my race and my religion or some shit, and that materializes as what you call fucking racism, you know what I'm saying? Or even if it ain't racism, I still only give a fuck about me and a select group of motherfuckers. If you push me hard enough, and you'll find where I stop in terms of who I give a fuck about, or where I'll turn into a monster. Like, yeah, I wouldn't hurt them people. What about them people? Nah. What about them? Nah. What about them? Hell yeah. You get me? Same shit. And both sides has a limit to that, to where like, yeah, motherfuckers will really like, like the ignorance is still there. The identity rooted in the physical shit is still there. Because at the end of the day, one side thinks that, well, we should just get rid of this and fuck empathy and fuck all that shit and, the DEI and all that. And then the other side is like, well, fuck that side. And the problem is people should be able to latch their identity onto anything and identify with the world. We see, one side is just advocating freedom from one set of ideas, but still, and pushing the concept of, well, shit, you could latch on to any idea. But see, without consciousness, that's deadly. And the other side is like, no, fuck the freedom of ideas. Fuck that, we need the tradition. You know what I'm saying? Well, they just saying, they picking one idea, these people picking a bunch of ideas, both sides identifying with these ideas. Problem like a motherfucker. If we was all bounded under these ideas, we don't get to be free, because it's just one fucking idea, traditional life, and the bullshit that come with it, toxic masculinity, all that other shit, racism, and just all this shit that come with all of this and the consequences of it. But if we lean over here, if we swing all the way to the right, you get that. If you swing all the way to the left, you get motherfuckers that's like, well, we can fucking create any idea we want and identify with any of them to any degree, whether that's in a relationship or the world, whether that's, the sex, gender, anything that's going on, and how we look at ourselves, or how we label shit, how we look at shit, social norms, social constructs, because everything is, all of society is a social construct. We could call fire and gas whatever the fuck we want, but do you know what they do? That's all. You need to know what they do. You need to know why this is like this, and, you call it what you want if you're a professional. You get what I'm saying? The problem with both sides is that they haven't realized that the only way we get to exist is if we implement the truths from the left and the right. One, we do have to live under a certain set of understandings in order to live together. So we do have to pick a game. If we're gonna play house, we gotta pick a house to be in to play the fucking game in. But we have to remember, it's just an idea. It's not a fucking law, even if it's gonna be tradition or just some norms that we agree on. But this shit right here is gonna have to be fucking, we have to consciously, not because it's right, not because God says so, but because we know that if we want to keep playing this game of conscious capitalism, hey, if we're gonna do this, if you're a billionaire, you need to make some choices that the law ain't gonna force you to make. We need conscious people who will do things that need to be done, whether you rich or not. Everybody got a role to play, and everybody need to play their role intentionally with other people in mind. So we need one set of rules or something basic shit that we agree on. The other thing is we have to realize that it's an idea. And that at the end of the day, yeah, we might have a norm set to whatever, but we still need to remember that we are free from these ideas. You have to create a society, and the only type of society you can have that can give you both of those is a society of conscious people. People who realize that, oh, we live under a handful of ideas that we agree on to create this society. But the reason things are the way that they are as in my individual life is because of the ideas that I have and the way that I see them and myself in relation to them and all of that. The problem is that humanity has an issue with identity and limited identity. People are constantly identifying with this world, whether it be race, religion, family, friends, caste, creed, ideas, personality, country, nationality, ethnicity, sex, gender, all of that type of shit. And these boundaries of identity, the desire to be boundless, but the identification, the force of the identification with the physicality, giving life to the consequences of survival mode, constantly kicking in. So you long to be free, but you also long to be safe and protected. So it causes you to roam the world with your bubble of ideas, and everybody doing this. So anytime your bubble cross another bubble, that's not. You don't see that as just my bad. We playing. We me and you both bullshit. Both y'all don't know this. So what ends up happening is, when we can't just, this is why we can't just disagree on politics right here. Because motherfuckers is literally saying that's shit. If your politics is such and such deserve to die, motherfuckers like when your ideas cross their ideas, bitch, you might as well be threatening their life from either side, any group that you talking about. And this is what's going on. We need to be meditating, that's it. We have to be meditating, and we have to be going within ourselves. And we actively have to be transcending how we see ourselves in identity. Because right now it's just black, white, family, friends, race, religion. You take away his racial identity, strip that bullshit. Give me that. Culture, give me all that. Give me all that identity. Personality, give me all that. Isolate this motherfucker. Leave him with him and himself and his ideas. Because remember, all he got is ideas. But take away the physical form of all that shit. Yeah, remove all the things he thinks to be himself and force him to sit, not know who the fuck he is. Really feel like he has nothing. Complete unknown. Throw his ass in the complete unknown and watch what happens. The humans today have been conditioned to literally, some will come up out of that shit completely, start fucking glowing. Like, they'll implode. What happens? Some stars implode, and it's just the end of it. They implode and they don't, it's just burst into dust, it's over. They destroy themselves under their own pressure. Some stars implode and a fucking black hole is born, or a fucking neutron star, or some crazy shit like that. Some people find themselves in the filth and become a part of the filth. Some people find themselves in the filth and like a lotus flower, they blossom in that shit. But that's what's happening to humanity. They're realizing you have those bound by the ideas of tradition going against those who desire to be free and have had the freedom to free themselves from the ideas of tradition, but not the strength to free themselves from ideas in totality. So now they're like, well, fuck them traditions. And that's a social construct. I want to live by another set of ideas. And his limited identity bound by ideas, nonetheless, even if they're different ideas, is clashing with his limited identity bound by one old ass set of ideas, arguing about who's right, who's less ignorant. But because his ignorance manifests as literal physical shit like racism and fucking toxic family households and all this type of shit, and the other side, which will be that's the right, and the other side will be the left, which the ignorance in this side manifests not directly as bloodshed and shit. It will at some point, trust me, because they both is the same disease. But this it manifests as, you're not a black, don't identify with your race, Timmy. You can identify with whatever. So you feel what I'm saying? So now we still direct the idea of who am I externally, whether it's on your fucking race, or whether it's on another part of your body, or whether it's on your physical circumstance of how rich you are, or whether it's your poverty. You know what I'm saying? Same fucking issue, but they both arguing about same level of ignorance, arguing about who's the least ignorant. And that's the tribulation in the second coming of Christ. I'm not a Christian, but that's the tribulation. That's what it means. As when you shift energy like that, there's always gonna be friction physically. When a car going 100 miles in one direction, you can hit a U-turn, but hey man, that bitch gonna swing. You know what I'm saying? So humanity coming from cavemen, moving full speed in this direction. When they hit the middle point, and that caveman beast-like mentality meets that divine freedom and that conscious shit, when it hits that, that's when the friction starts. You have some truly waking up to this realization, those are the people that'll follow the path inward. Truly, and if they're Christian, those will be the true Christians. If they're Muslim, those will be the real Muslims. If they're fucking monks and yogis, or if they just people that don't subscribe to no religion or idea, but they still they still follow that same path inward. Those are the ones who are realizing or know Christ and will be okay during the tribulation, because when Jesus talked, what he say? He said, in those times, shit, the one who, when the Father comes, when the Father comes and sees him doing what he's supposed to do, he'll have ownership over his possessions. He's meaning that when you realize that you are creating this shit, your circumstances and all this, you are doing this, whether you know it or not. When you realize this, and you start become aware of it, manage it, learn how to operate it consciously, you'll be in charge of your possessions. The world will burn down and you'll have a cup of ice water, nigga. But if the Father catch you not doing what you're supposed to be doing, which is that you still think it's the world, you still think it's black people, you still think it's your body parts, or like your sexuality, or the government, or you think it's the left, you think it's the right, you still think it's the world around you, all y'all won't make it. All of them die. Both sides, left and right, completely fucking implode under the ignorance. And the only ones who will be living in heaven while that shit is on fire will be those who are in charge. Those who know. The conscious will only make it. Those who know God. And then he said, everybody will weep, because when it's all over, the Son of Man will come on the clouds, because motherfuckers will burn the world down, basically. Then look in the sky, and after a majority of the world started to wake up and realize, and the message that started to spread, they going within themselves and meditating, and they doing shit. They going within and working on themselves. As that happens, it starts to become a consensus that, Wow. So all the people that died 100 years ago, 50 years ago, 20 years ago, all of the conflict and death on both sides, and the race and the hate and the violence and the people not helping people, and you just watched it happen, and oh, you did some evil, so we finna do a Uno reverse and evil your ass, and like all the fucking death, majority of the death in humanity came because the Son of Man is the human being's his illusion, the human being's illusion of his individual self as separated from the world. The Son of Man is a consequence, is the human being when he is still identified with his physicality as race, religion, family, friend, son, uncle, country, status, creed, rich, poor, gay, straight, whatever. His identity rooted in the world, rooted in the limited, finite shit, and not his infinite nature, perceiving himself to have a start and a finish, to be limited and separated from something, from anything in general. He looks up and he realizes, oh shit, the Son of Man comes on the clouds, because when he look up and see the world, the clouds, the stars, this shit, when he look up and see it, he don't just see that shit no more. He sees his ideas of it. He doesn't see a cloud as a cloud. He sees what it really is, and then he sees the fact that, oh, I call that a cloud, and that's a word, and a word is sound, which is still physical shit. It's all, his identity is free from the feedback loop of physical shit. Oh, I call a cloud, but that's just sound, and sound is of the physical shit, made up of particles, reacting to themselves, vibrating in the oxygen. But a cloud is also made of water, which is also particles, which is also a feedback loop. He frees his identity from that infinite loop, and now, if he chooses to live in the physical world and see that as a cloud and a tree, it's happening because it's his choice. Not because he thinks that, no, these ideas are, this is what life is. No, he now can see life because he can see himself. So he knows that, yeah, this is how we see it and structure it for survival, the protection of the physical body. But because he knows himself beyond his physical body, it's not his big priority no more. So now he has the answers beyond it. But, we live day to day, you feel me? Even if he could walk on water, he'll ride a boat. Even if I know that the fucking, like, oh, I know who I am, and God, and I am God, and God is me, and all that. Yeah, I ain't fucking, I still gotta drive to the grocery store and pay for my fruit. You know what I'm saying? But now it's operating and living becomes easy. Creating circumstances and operating this shit, life becomes easy because you've become easy. You know how to live because you know how to be. As simple as that. And what we're watching is the transition of that in humanity. The majority going from caveman to a little less caveman, arguing over becoming free from old ideas, and arguing about, should we become free from old ideas, or should we say fuck the old ideas, just pick all our own ideas and then latch our identity on to them motherfuckers. Fuck it. Should we be let me make a joke. Should we be man and woman, or should we be man and woman in every goddamn thing? But neither side understands the ignorance in both sides. So what happens is the shit you see. So yeah. Hey man, that's all I had to say. I was thinking about that. I had made a video on for TikTok, but it was like I couldn't get the shit off. It was like 6 minutes long, 8 minutes long. So I was like, fuck it, I'll just make one for YouTube. So yeah, but hey, I'm gonna do some more of these. I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna do some more of these because it's easy. Seems to help me get these long ass thoughts off, because when I be making the videos, it just I can't post that shit on TikTok. But I'm finna post it. I love y'all, but yeah, that's what's wrong. Humanity is coming back to God, realizing themselves. I'm not a Christian. I'm not an atheist. I don't believe nor disbelieve nothing. Oh, and what we need to be doing is meditate. We need to be meditating. We need to be meditating, sitting. You gotta think, meditate, and whatever you think meditation is, you're wrong. I'm gonna tell you that now, you're fucking wrong. You don't know what I think about the world, and when they find out, it'll make sense. But right, I'm telling you, you're fucking wrong. So yeah, I'm out. I love y'all. Peace. Let me stop this shit. Hold on. Wait, let me do my outro.
Hey, yeah, no, I can't stand you. I might be all wrong, but for my heart, you were a bad move. Hey, yeah, it's like pain I'm attached to. I'm sick with no cure. This chapter left deep wounds. Hey, 12 on my back. Yeah, I know she won't be back, but I don't know how